All right, guys, back real quick. Found some good news. April 27th, we have some World Boxing Super Series action going on. We'll have Regis Prograis versus Kirill Relic. I think Prograis is the WBC interim or diamond champion versus Kirill Relic, who's the WBA world champion. Um, it's a good fight. I like Kirill Relic. Beat Francis Barthélemy not too long ago in the rematch on I want to say Mikey Garcia versus Sergey Lepinets undercard. Um, he's a solid fighter. He's kind of a volume type of style, but he can kind of box. Similar to like Sergey Lepinets. Like he's not a half bad boxer, and he's definitely throws punches and bunches. Um, I think his alias is like Mad B or something, so kind of fits. Decent power. I thought the first time he fought Francis Barthélemy, very close, very competitive. I think that fight was on the Gary Russell versus Oscar Escandón undercard, so it was a while ago. That was a hard fight to score. It was very weird. The ref was kind of all over the place in terms of how he was refing. Like he would let him fight, and then he would stop it and let him not let him fight. What I mean, let him fight on the inside. So it was kind of weird. Barthélemy had a couple of oddball low blows. Um, so it was a tricky fight to score. It wasn't a bad fight. It was competitive, back and forth. I think Barthélemy did knock down Kirill Relic. So, but the first fight was pretty good, and then they rematched, and Relic pretty much put out a shutout. He pretty much dominated Barthélemy. Barthélemy didn't do anything really. He got outworked and he got outboxed. Um, like a lot of volume fighters, you don't really want to let them get to a quick rhythm because if you do, it's hard to compete with that punches and bunches type style because they're kind of hard to counter once they're in full gear and you haven't had any success countering them. So to an extent, you kind of have to punch with them, but land the sharper shots. Kind of like what Carl Frampton did with Leo Santa Cruz the first fight. Like punch with them, but punch, you know, uh, catch them. Kind of catch and shoot game, really. So they're gonna outwork you more times than not anyway, because that's their style. Guys like Leo Santa Cruz, Omar Figueroa, Lepinets, Paul Williams type. Uh, so I like Kirill Relic. Decent power. He's tough. He has heart. He's a champion. It'll be a good fight. I like Regis Prograis too. A lot of people at the time thought he was kind of like the B version of Earl Spence. Southpaw, body puncher. Um, in his last fight, he showed he can box a little bit. I was impressed with Prograis' performance over Terry Flanagan. Flanagan was a former lightweight champion who moved up. Prograis showed some skill in there. Boxed, his jab was good. A little bit of awkward head movement. Good body punch game. He's athletic. He has power. I like this fight. It's going to be definitely a good action style fight. But both guys can box better than people would think. Relic's not a bad boxer. Neither is Prograis. Um, kind of a tricky style to. Yeah, I think people are probably going to lean with Prograis, and I probably will as well. I don't think it's an easy fight. I don't think it's going to be an easy fight to score. I think Relic is very busy, but so is Prograis. So I think Prograis being a little bit taller, a little bit longer, I think his jab is really what's going to have to separate for that fight. Because I don't know about how well refined is his skills as a counter puncher. So you could try the catch and shoot game with Relic, but which won't be bad because I think Prograis is the more certified puncher at 140. I think Relic's only had three fights tops at 140. So I mean, not that he's a small 140 pounder. I think he's the right size, but um, I don't know how comfortable Prograis is with the catch and shoot style. So I would definitely lean in towards being first in that fight. You know, you're a more athletic guy, you're faster, you're taller, a little bit longer. So um, I would definitely exercise that jab and make Relic eat fire to try to work. Um, so it's gonna be a good fight, you know, stylistically. I can't see it being a boring fight. I'm gonna lean with Prograis, probably a competitive decision. Could be a late stoppage. Could be a late stoppage, but I'm gonna say Prograis by decision for now. I think that's um, most likely what's gonna happen. But I do think it's gonna be competitive. Should be some definitely good action. I can't see it being a boring fight. I don't. Their styles are gonna gel pretty well. It may look ugly a little bit early, but I think from middle, you know, from rounds 4 and on, this should be a pretty good action-packed fight. Not necessarily a brawl, but I think it'll be a fun scrap, you know, with Prograis versus Kirill Relic. Um, I think the main event is Nonito Donaire versus Zolani Titi. Hope I'm not pronouncing it wrong. He's South African. Um, he's a southpaw. He's actually pretty tall for bantamweights. I think he's like 5'8", 5'9". Yeah, I think so. Zolani TT, South African. He looked good in his last fight. He was really boxing really well. Donaire, he kind of won by. I like Donaire too, but he kind of won by default in his last fight. The guy's back kind of just pulled a Shane Mosley. He just, you know, gave out on him. It was real awkward. You know, I like Donaire too. You know, Filipino Flash. You know, always had good power, fun fights. Wasn't a horrible boxer, you know, in his prime, but like a lot of fighters, he, you know, kind of fell in love with the knockout and started chasing knockouts instead of setting it up. You know, like a lot of big punchers, they start relying on their power because Donaire was really the first one to give light to those divisions. You know, the 105, 108, 112, 115, 118. Donaire was just, you know, rampaging through those divisions. So before, you know, Chocolatitos and whatnot. I think Donaire also beat Jorge Arce and Darchinyan and Matabula. You know, Donaire was he was a good fighter back in his day. He even gave Carl Frampton kind of a tough fight. I think TT will probably outbox him. You know, he's taller, he's definitely longer. He's tall for that division. He's like 5'8", 5'9". Pretty good reach. I think it's like 71, 72-inch reach. You know, as long as TT doesn't try to brawl with Donaire, he'll probably outbox him, outwork him. But Donaire's tough. He's game. He can crack, especially in those lower divisions. So, you know, you definitely don't want to sleep on him, even though he's like 35, 36. You know, power's the last thing to go. Um, so we'll see what happens. You know, so both fights are going to be pretty good. I think it's in Louisiana. So, but I'm pretty sure Donaire and TT are the main event. So, see what happens though. But April 27th, it's a good fight. Not on a major network, which that's kind of my problem with the World Boxing Super Series. I love the concept. You know, it's the best fight in the best. You know, that's how Usyk became, you know, undisputed fighter of the year, and rightfully so. Um, he didn't look great against Tony Bellew the first couple of rounds, but you know, he ended up stopping him. So, but I like the World Boxing Super Series. I love the concept. It's the best fight in the best. They just gotta get. I don't know why, like PBC or Fox or Showtime or ESPN, DAZN. I don't know why they didn't grab this fight, man. They need to, man. I like the World Boxing Super Series concept. You know, it's kind of like how the amateurs are anyway. You know, basically a tournament type of style. So I think boxing needs to get back to that for it to, you know, bounce back as one of the major sports in America. So we'll see what happens. But good fights. Let me know what you guys think about the World Boxing Super Series. Donaire fighting TT, Prograis versus Relic. Both should be solid fights. Drop a comment, like, dislike, subscribe, and you guys have a good one.